We're about a week and a half into free agency so far, and the Philadelphia Eagles have yet to really make a big addition on the offensive side of the ball. We all know the Eagles are looking to add another receiver alongside Devante Smith. However, it's been questionable in the way that they're going about doing it. They've missed out on several big names in the free agency market, and just recently they missed out on Tyreek Hill. While the Miami Dolphins were able to trade for him by giving up some draft picks, the Eagles should have been able to match and even exceed the offer that the Dolphins threw out there that the Chiefs ended up accepting. So it seems like the Eagles weren't really interested in bringing Hill in at all. This then leaves the question, are they actually going to add help in the wide receiver position? They've already signed Zach Pascal to a one-year deal, but he's not going to be a guy that comes in and is an immediate high-impact difference maker on the Eagles' offense. So the Eagles are still in search of another wide receiver to put alongside Devante Smith, and questions are arising of potentially where that could be coming from. Now, just because they haven't done anything yet doesn't mean they won't do something in the future, and there's plenty of moves that are still available for the Eagles to make to add a wide receiver in this free agency or potentially through a trade. So today we're going to be talking about some potential additions that the Eagles could make at the wide receiver position, so let's get into it. So the first guy I want to talk about the Eagles potentially getting is DK Metcalf. So obviously the Eagles missed out on drafting DK Metcalf in 2019 when they ended up selecting JJ Arcega-Whiteside. DK Metcalf was then selected a little bit later in that same round, and clearly DK Metcalf has had the far better career. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He has been over his first few years in the league. There's a potential of the Eagles being able to redeem themselves and maybe pick up DK Metcalf through a trade. So Seattle has just entered a rebuild and trading Russell Wilson away to the Denver Broncos, and DK Metcalf's name has been a name that has come up in trade talks around the league ever since the offseason started. There was rumors linking him to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. So it looks like the Seattle Seahawks are trying to extend him, but what that basically means is if they don't get an extension done, which most likely they won't, because I don't see how DK Metcalf is going to want to stay there, especially considering the quarterback situation and just the situation of the franchise, unless he's extremely committed to Seattle, which it doesn't seem like he is. They're going to end up trading him if they can't get an extension done. So what that means is the Eagles are going to be They should be one of the main players to land DK Metcalf through a trade because they have all the draft capital to do it, and they could definitely be that team that comes in, trades for DK Metcalf, pays him, and he could be here alongside with Devante Smith. Now, there was a tweet released by a guy named Vin the Insider. Now, this guy is interesting because I don't know exactly how credible this source is, but in his bio it does say that he's a pro sports insider. Seems like he's a Philadelphia guy, and he says he's the first to announce the Carson Wentz trade, the Bryce Harper signing, the James Harden trade, the Morey hiring, and a Castellanos signing. So he seems to be a pretty credible source if these things that he's saying are true. Now, I'm not saying they 100% are, but I would assume that he has some credibility to what he says. So the tweet that came out says, "I'm being told that the Philadelphia Eagles have discussed a few trade scenarios with the Seattle Seahawks involving wide receiver DK Metcalf. However, I'm told Seattle has intimated that they are still hoping to extend Metcalf." So basically, that shows that the Eagles have interest in DK Metcalf, obviously, and the Seahawks are still trying to extend him, which, like I said earlier, that probably will not end up happening. So a couple days ago, this didn't seem all that realistic to me, and now it seems a lot more realistic based on that tweet, if that's credible, and the trade rumors around the NFL involving the Chiefs and the Packers with DK Metcalf. So we'll see what happens with the Eagles for that, but if they could get DK Metcalf, he'd be my #1 guy that I would want to get that's still out there as a wide receiver next to Devante Smith. He's a big physical receiver. He's fast. He can really do it all. And he'd just be a great addition to this Philadelphia team for obvious reasons. He's an incredible athlete and a great wide receiver. And if you could get him alongside Devante Smith, I think he'd also help out Jalen Hurts a lot because, Jalen Hurts needs a big physical wide receiver on this team, and DK Metcalf can be that, along with Devante Smith, who obviously will continue to progress going into his second season next year. So the next guy I want to talk about is Devante Parker. So obviously Miami just traded for Tyreek Hill, and they signed Cedric Wilson. So Devante Parker, if he stays with the Dolphins, his most likely role will be rotating in and out as that third receiver with Cedric Wilson in Miami, and I don't think he wants that, especially with a guy that has showed a lot of promise throughout his years in the NFL, and even though he's been hurt a little bit, has shown flashes in the NFL, especially in that 2019 season when he put up over 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns in a season. Devante Parker is a guy who I was interested in a couple years ago when he was going through that uncertainty with Miami. Now that Tyreek Hill is there, his future in Miami is pretty uncertain. And earlier today, there was reports saying that multiple teams have interest in Devante Parker from the Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles were one of them, and I think that this would be a good addition. He would definitely become the #2 wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles alongside Devante Smith, and again, He's about 6'3", 209 pounds. So he's a big physical wide receiver. Again, the type of receiver that I feel like Jalen Hurts needs and would be a good receiver to pair alongside Devante Smith. And he's shown a lot of promise in this league, and his contract is pretty team friendly, as I believe he's only making around $6-7 million over the next 2 years each year. So, I don't see why the Eagles couldn't go out and pick up Devante Parker, assuming Miami's willing to trade him. The next guy I want to talk about is Julio Jones, who was cut from the Titans. Last year he had a tough year. He wasn't really playing much. I mean, he had to deal with some injuries, and his production definitely decreased being in that Titans offense, and it just wasn't a good fit for him. But do I think Julio Jones can still play? Of course I do, because it's Julio Jones. And when he has been on the field, he has still been a productive receiver. Again, big physical receiver, incredibly talented. I think, if he was able to come to Philadelphia and have a chance to revitalize his career there along with Jalen Hurts, he would definitely show why he's been one of the best receivers in the NFL over the past few years, excluding last year, if he just got a chance again and he was able to stay healthy. Because if you're going to tell me Julio Jones can't play anymore, I just can't listen to you, because it's not, there's no way you're going to tell me that Julio Jones can't play. He's been hurt, but when he has played over the past 2 seasons, he's piled up some decent stats. And he's a free agent right now, and why not give him a 1-year prove-it deal just to help with Jalen Hurts' development and also help this Eagles offense grow a little bit. If he was able to come to the Eagles, I think he'd be a great number 2 option, and honestly, he'd be a great mentor to Devante Smith too. Devante Smith's coming into his 2nd year, and Julio Jones has been around for a while, and he's been one of the best receivers, and they're both Alabama guys, so he would be a great addition to this Eagles team as well. So moving into the next player, and the final player I'm going to talk about in this video, which is Jarvis Landry. Recently, again, released by the Cleveland Browns. He's still out there, and it seems like the Eagles do have interest in him. There was, I believe it was the same person that believed that the Eagles had interest in Robert Woods, which ended up being true, said that the Eagles also had interest in Jarvis Landry. So if they were able to get Jarvis Landry, I think that'd be a good pickup. His production has declined over the past few years, but he's still, again, a good receiver, good veteran. He's 29 years old. He'd be able to come in and, again, be that number 2 wide receiver that the Philadelphia Eagles are so desperately looking for. And again, you wouldn't have to pay him all that much money, most likely. So, all these players, DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, and of course Devante Parker, they would all, each and every single one of them could be a great addition to this Eagles team, and I don't see why the Eagles don't go out and get one of them. We all know the Philadelphia Eagles need a receiver, and these are some of the guys that are still out there that the Eagles could potentially get. As long as they get one of these guys or some other receiver, whether that's through the draft or some other guy that I didn't mention in this video, it should help Jalen Hurts out a ton going into his next year. Hopefully in his development, that should help him out as well, and just help the Philadelphia Eagles offense out as a whole. That's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So if you did enjoy, please subscribe for more Eagles and Sixers videos just like this, and drop a like down below to help push this video out to other people, and leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Who do you think the Eagles should go after in free agency still? What receiver would you like to see the Eagles get? And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.